stand tall, I don't tuck my tail. Swear I'm hard as nails. Oh, they judge because my skin is pale. Like I ain't working scale. Bro, I'm raw just like the work. Used to numb the pain with perks. I was popping shit like candy, now I pop off in a verse. See my brothers turn to demons like they body just got cursed.
All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today I wanted to talk about a topic that I've been talking a lot about, not with just my clients, but with people in general about their lives. And what the topic is, it's the paradox of changing your life. It's the easiest thing you're ever going to do, but it's also the hardest thing you're ever going to do. I'm going to break that down for you. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the reason why I'm calling it a paradox is because meaning it's the easiest thing you're ever going to do in your entire life is to change your life, but it's also the hardest thing you're ever going to do. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because, not only are these times of year hard, November, December, it's hard for so many different reasons. It's hard for the financial stress of the holidays coming up. It's hard for the emotional stress of, figuring out what your situation is for your home life. I know for me personally around the holidays, I get a little bit more of hard on myself. I start to have more depressive symptoms, thinking too much about the areas of my life that, maybe I feel like I'm lacking, all these different things. That's a huge stressor. Another big stressor is that, people are exhausted from trying to transition from the summertime into the fall, get their kids regulated for school, get their life regulated for their schooling, get ready for work, all these different things, right? Everyone's exhausted, right? And don't even start about the weather changes. It's getting cold. Times are changing, so it's getting darker faster. All of these things make us feel like the world is going against us. So nonetheless of us talking about it for just those facts and those areas of opportunities for our lives, but even when talking to my clients about the breakthroughs that they're having, oh my God, I got a lot of clients that are having some mental breakthroughs recently. And it's so gratifying because that's where I kind of got the topic of it's a paradox of it being the easiest thing you've ever done, but also the hardest, because I'm going to break it down. The reason why it's a paradox, the easiest thing you've ever done is changing your life, and the hardest thing is to change your life, is because it's easy to do it because from a simple sense and from a simple standpoint, you just have to stick to a plan. You have to create the plan. You have to know the plan. You have to map the plan out, and then you have to stick to it religiously. That's all you have to do. So it's actually the easiest thing you want to do. And this applies for anything in your life. If you want a better relationship, then you need to, 1, figure out what type of relationship you want. Number 2, you need to figure out how you're going to get that relationship you want. Number 3 is you're going to have to map it out to figure out how you're going to get to it. You know what I mean? And then the 4th one is sticking to it religiously to make sure that you're going to eventually stick and mold yourself into a standpoint to either gain that relationship or fit the needs of a relationship of that standard. No different than your career, right? You want a career advancement. You want to get a promotion. You want to get that next raise at work. You're going to have to stick to the plan that's going to get you that outcome, right? You're going to have to create that plan. You're going to have to know that plan. You're going to have that plan mapped out. And then you're going to have to stick to it religiously. And the cool thing about it is that this goes in every area of our life. This literally goes into every area of our life. Going to the gym, you want to go to the gym, you want to lose weight, you want to gain weight, you want to feel better when you look in the mirror. You got to know the plan, stick to the plan, have it all mapped out, and fucking go after it religiously. So from a simple sense, changing your life's easy. You know what I mean? You go from point A, you say Z is your end goal, and then you have all of the other letters in the alphabet, which is your small goal post that you got to stick to and show the fuck out for. And that's as simple as it is. The rest of it comes down on the hard parts of why this is a paradox and it's the hardest thing you're going to do. And the reason why this is the hardest thing you're going to do is because can you stick to the plan? That's the hardest fucking thing. Can you stick to the duration of your plan? Now, 99% of people don't. And that's why it's so important to just be consistent. Show up every single day. Make yourself proud. Don't have these extremely high fucking standards where you feel like you got to have 10 out of 10 days. It's really about can you stick to the plan and show up more often than not? Period. And most people can't, right? Another reason why it's the hardest thing to do is because in order to know the plan and have a plan mapped out is you have to be able to do 2 things. 1 is embrace your fucking emotions. And 2 is admit these feelings and emotions to yourself. Because the hardest thing to do about going through these changes, let's use the relationship, for example. Everybody, quote unquote, wants a better partner. Everyone, quote unquote, wants a partner that's going to treat them with more respect, more love, more everything, financial abundance, the whole 9 yards. But it's in order to be that change, you have to be the change you see, So if you are in a relationship where, maybe you're verbally abusive, maybe you're arrogant and, maybe narcissistic and maybe some ignorant in some senses, are you able to embrace those emotions and admit those feelings to yourself to create the plan, to know the plan, to have it mapped out? You know what I mean? And that's what makes it hard. No different than with a career, right? If you're going for a career advancement, you're going for a physical goal advancement, anything of this nature, you're going to have to be able to embrace your emotions and admit things to you. Prime example, if you want to change your life and look in the mirror with conviction that you want to be happy and love yourself in the whole 9 yards, you have to admit to yourself you don't like how you look now. You know what I mean? And then you have to embrace the emotions of going through that duration of getting there. No different with a career advancement. Prime example, that was a huge trigger for me, right? Was like I was a little bit of a hothead when I worked at my old corporate job. Not from the standpoint of being arrogant, thinking I deserved anything, but I cared a lot and I was in momentum a lot. I was really good at my job. So, when I wanted a promotion, there was a lot of small things that I had to work on. Like one was my professionalism, how I held myself as a man. And this isn't what they said. This was just like a sum of of a commonality that I've got feedback for over the few years of for me to be like the person I needed to be within the work field, right? And if I didn't embrace those emotions, you know what I mean, and then admit those feelings to myself, I would have never progressed in the areas that I've happened that I needed to do to get to the areas that I wanted, right? And the last thing, which makes it the hardest thing ever as a paradox, is like growing out of your friends and your family members, right? It's the easiest thing to do because, like I said, you just got to make the plan, stick to the plan, go fucking at it. But can you deal with the criticism, the ridicule, and all of the shame, or the small comments that some of your friends and family members are going to make when you decide to do new things, right? Like I've lost almost all of my friends that are like in the fitness field right now that like are coaching people, are helping people with their fitness and all these different things. Like I've lost almost all of them because of my ideology on how to provide a service versus their ideology on how to provide a service is just simply different, And it's like I had to, for me to go all in on what I believed worked, I had to embrace my emotions and admit my feelings, but I also had to grow out of a lot of fucking friend groups, And it's funny because I had a conversation the other day about that. And, it's very, very, very hard to do that, is outgrow your friends, outgrow your family and stuff like that. But, there's a simple quote that you can, that says you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink it. And, you can't force people to see your vision, your goals, your aspirations on life, your ambitions, right? And that's why it's a paradox. It's the hardest thing to ever do because say you did have a career job or an emotional state you wanted to go towards a relationship, or let's say your family, prime example, an easy one, cutthroat example. Let's say your family's addicts, your family are manipulators. Let's say your families are victim mentality, people that are always taking handouts, things like this of this nature, right? Like when you decide to change your life, like you're going to outgrow a lot of these people in your life. You're going to have to be able to embrace those emotions and admit those feelings to yourself and still stick to the fucking plan to go forward, knowing that you can't take that personal. You can take ownership over how you feel about these things, ownership over like the situations and scenarios, but you can't take it personal because again, like if I took it personal for everything that I was doing with me chasing these goals and doing things like that, like I would never ever reach the heights that I've ever reached, and I'm at the point now where I'm doing things that like people are asking me like that they didn't even think were real, that you were allowed to do these types of things with your life. And I think that's why it's so crazy that it's a paradox, right? Because on one side of the coin, it's the easiest thing you've ever done, changing your life. Follow the fucking plan, create the plan, know the plan, have it mapped out, stick to it fucking religiously. But the hardest thing is like, can you stick to it? Can you fulfill the contract of that duration? Can you embrace your emotions? Can you admit the feelings to yourself? And can you handle the criticism and the shedding of your friend groups and your families around you? You know what I mean? But the craziest thing about all of this is if you can stick to the fucking plan, embrace your emotions, do all the hard shit that comes with changing your life, and understand the simplicity of why it's easy, then on the other side of this is all of the blessings that you're looking for, the abundant lifestyle, the peaceful fucking mindset, the chaos is all gone, and you're full of joy and fulfillment, and you're fucking great. The life that you want is on the other side of the hard things within the simplicity of what we're talking about here. It's on the life that you want is on the other side of embracing those emotions and admitting those feelings to yourself. The people that you want in your life are on the other side of you sticking to these plans and outgrowing your friends and family members you want. You know what I mean? And above all else, the thing that makes me the most excited is that if you can understand the simplicity of how this is a paradox in terms of it being easy, as in stick to the plan, create the plan, know the plan, have it mapped out, and then stick to it religiously. I always say stick to it twice because you got to understand that most of it, 80% of it's just showing the fuck up. And then if you can also embrace the hard side of things, which is sticking to it, saying it again for the third time, embrace those emotions and admit your feelings to yourself, then you can literally get on the other side of all of these goals and aspirations. And guess what the biggest blessing of it is? It's you, the version of you that you need, the version of you that you seek, the version of you that you ultimately know deep down inside your gut, your intuition and your faith that you know is out there, that is truly deserves to be on this planet and you be living by example by this person is on the other side of you understanding that it's easy to change your life, but you got to go through the hard shit to get there. Now, that's all I have for today's episode. I hope you had an amazing takeaway from this, or a handful of takeaways. I felt like this one was pretty impactful because, it's not easy changing your life. It really is not easy changing your life, but it is fucking simple. It's no different than anything else in terms of like understanding it for what it is, but then understanding for what comes out of what it is. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is that it's easy to stick to the plan. It's easy to create the plan. It's easy to know the plan, have it mapped out, and stick to it religiously. But it's hard as fuck to stay committed to it. It's hard as fuck to embrace your emotions. It's hard as fuck to admit these emotions. And it's hard to stay around people that are shaming you, criticizing you, and maybe making you feel some type of way about making these changes. However, to end it, the blessings you deserve, the abundance you deserve, the peace and the joy that you deserve, the you for you that you deserve is on the other side of you embracing these emotions. Let's fucking go.
I stand tall, I don't